First item on the salary board agenda, we need to approve the minutes from the June 15th, 2026 salary board meeting.
So moved.
Properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a request from President Judge Cherry to set the salary of the new law clerk at $63,000 annually, effective July 6th, 2026. The understanding for everyone that the law clerk position has been vacant for some time. Would you like to expand on this any, Your Honor?
Well, the law clerk position had been vacant from January 5th until July 6th. And I can tell you, nobody was knocking on our door to the law clerk. However, our prior law clerk, Chelsea Landini, approached the court and asked if the court would hire her back. And we, consulting with Judge Maines, we thought that would be the best for everyone if we did. So she started on July 6th, and I'm asking that her salary be set at $63,000 annual.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Do we have anything else to come before the salary board this morning, gentlemen?
I did. I think, did you second that?
The minutes, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hearing nothing more before the salary board, do I have a motion to adjourn the salary board?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
We will now move on to our regularly scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting for July 14, 2026. We will dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance as we have just done that for salary board. So the first item will be to approve the minutes of our previous meeting. This was June 23rd, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, we will move on to one of our favorite things, the approval of the bills. Turn this over to Controller Edwards.
Alrighty, general fund $1,123,205.05. Liquid fuels $47,158.45. Hazmat $16,903.61. 911 $31,819.76. Communities Development Block Grant, $33,165. Domestic Relations, $695.06. And Children and Youth, $613,160.06, for a total of $1,866,106.99.
Thank you, Controller Edwards. Do I have a motion to approve the bills as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
Properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Give us a moment while we sign these. Get them back to the Controller. Thank you, Controller Edwards. Next on the agenda, personnel issues. Listed below are personnel changes for the Commissioner's approval. We have a number of new hires. DC3 in tax claims, effective 6/29/26. Law clerk under the courts, effective 7/7/2026. Adult probation officer under the Department of Probation, effective 7/7/26. Corrections officer at the jail, effective 7/13/2026. County Social Service Aide under CYS, effective 7/20/2026. Caseworker, CYS, effective 7/20/2026. And another caseworker, effective 7/20/2026. No transfers. Separations and retirements, we have corrections officer at the jail, effective 7/6/26. Probation officer under the Probation Department, effective 7/31/2026. And a caseworker, CYS, effective 8/3/2026. Gentlemen, do I have a motion to accept the personnel changes that I have just read?
No, I also move, and I just want to note that it's good to see some hires in CYS. They've been a little bit short-handed up there, and I know they've got a lot to do.
Yeah, and I'll second it. Becky Snyder, who's leaving, she's been here quite a few years. I want to thank her for her time with the county.
20 plus.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
point.
so,
We certainly wish her all the best.
Yeah.
Properly moved in second, I will echo what my fellow commissioners said. It is good to see some hiring in the CYS, as we do sometimes struggle with that, and of course, thanking Becky Snyder for her long service. So properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that covers personnel changes. We will now move on to public comment. As has been our policy, we will have a 3-minute time limit, a total 20-minute allotted for public comment. Preference given to Clearfield County residents, but if we do not have Clearfield County resident, whoever is here will be able to speak. I will turn the timing over to Commissioner Glass. We do ask everyone, please identify yourself and maintain a proper decorum during the public comment.
I'm Timothy Smith, and I'm from Osceola Mills, Pennsylvania. Retired Chief Warrant Officer, U.S. Army, and I came here today as a citizen and as a resident. I felt it my obligation. As a plaintiff 5 years ago, I was one of those that sued the county over the violation of the Sunshine Act regarding your signing of a contract with the GEO Group. And at the time, proposed and brought forward ideas of how we should review and analyze what was coming. We didn't do it then. Now here we are. Here today to bring forward what I emailed to 2 of you yesterday, that what's coming now is even more stark than what was happening 5 years ago. And I would hope today on Bastille Day that we take at least an emergency measure to show your disapproval, and that's a key word, disapproval, of what is coming in the next couple of weeks between now and Friday, and make that clear. Because no matter what occurs, for those of us that will be fighting for this and fighting against it in the months to come, having your disapproval on the record will be key for us. Because the GEO Group has to show that they have approval from local governments to get past the first step in this next phase. When they sell their facility to ICE or get a direct contract with ICE, having approval is part of that process. If you simply say you disapproved, it will aid us when we go forward and fight them. When they get that approval, if they get that approval, you're going to lose, if it federalizes, your property taxes. PO School District will lose property taxes because federal facilities don't pay property taxes. Please, if you do nothing else today, at least say or state or pass an emergency proclamation, as I asked you to do yesterday, to say you disapprove of this action that's coming until they have a hearing, until they explain what is on the books. We don't know. This just came out on Friday. You may know. You may have all of the details. Maybe you had to sign an NDA. I don't know. But clearly, this needs to slow down. This is going to move very, very fast. GEO has already been in negotiations with ICE to buy turnkey facilities across the state. It's not just Shannon Valley. It's Tacoma, Washington, and 2 other facilities. I've been fighting the detention industrial complex for 23 years, here, Tacoma, and elsewhere. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Sandy Barrett, I am registered voter, I live out in Kenmore. And I once more find myself in a place I prefer not to be, speaking about something I wish I didn't have to, but I must. I'm speaking out again to ask that we not renew the contract to administer GEO's oversight at the Shannon Valley processing. As time progresses, we're seeing more and more direct abuses of humankind. And while caring individuals are going to continue to organize to close the Shannon and all of the facilities like it, at the least, you should remove any guilt by association the county has by not renewing that contract. I'm sure once again, advocates and citizens will bring up the great jobs and positive economic impact that Shannon has on Clearfield and Suffolk counties, and remind us once again that our friends and neighbors love there. Well, local parents and grandparents were also critical members, and local public servants also participated in systemic abuses that were considered normal and necessary. Does that sound familiar? Why not ask some of those currently involved in local hate groups, because they are here. If Clearly Ahead is truly doing the work you have charged it with, replacing this wonderful employment opportunity with something better shouldn't be a problem. Where are they? We've lost industrial, healthcare, and education jobs. Are we man-type facilities the only government industry contracts that we can get? Or are they just low-hanging fruit? Don't use the county's inability to bring new employers to Clearfield County as an excuse to support Ms. Shannon. The time is now. You have the ability to make a difference by standing for what is right. Please make the right choice. And with Tim's new information, I would echo, rather than just not signing something new if that time is stretched out to where that becomes necessary, but please speak out now and say, no, it's not the thing to do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Hudson, a resident of Clearfield, and I know I have a political position, but I'm not here political. I echo the same things that were just said about the GOV group running the processing center in Phillipsburg. I was in Clearfield County, and it's something that we need to, I ask you to look at it very much. I know you've tried to visit, they've cleaned it up so you could visit. Other times they have not allowed you to visit. When I say they, GEO Group. And nobody really knows what's going on behind the fences. And it's a private organization that gets paid by the number of people they process. Not the conditions they keep them in, but the number of people they process. So they are very much overcrowded, causing all kinds of health issues and everything else. And I am, as a citizen of Clearfield County, I am, as everybody else is, very much opposed to it. And talking to other people in Clearfield County, a majority of us don't want to see it here. I actually, when I'm out talking to other people out of Clearfield County, I tell them I'm very proud of Clearfield County and what it has to offer, except for one thing, is the detention center, processing center, whatever you want to call it. It needs to go away. You know, like I said, you can find other sources for employment and bring in better businesses. You know, Clearfield County pushes tourism. Is that part of tourism? No. It's something you guys need to look at very hard, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Chelsea Sweet. I'm from Kerwinsville. I come to you again this morning a little bit unsure of what I wanted to say, other than to remind you that the people in this community still care about the topic of Machina Valley Processing Center, namely the treatment of those detained in GEO's care and our county's legal involvement with the GEO group. GEO has a lengthy track record of documented abuses at facilities across the country. I have no faith in ICE's compassion for human life, given that ICE agents have established a lack of hesitation at taking lives. Man was shot in Maine just this week from Colombia. He was a legal immigrant who was working here legally. Lost myself. I think that we should demand access and oversight in the contract if we choose to renew it, but I strongly recommend that we remove our involvement and end the contract in September. I have here actually a petition with hundreds of signatures, mostly from this county, if I can give it to you. I forgot what I was gonna say. It's people from across the political spectrum. There are Republicans, there are Democrats, there are people that have no affiliation. Thank you for the word. I'm trying. My tongue didn't want to do it. There is so much misinformation about this facility in our community. Many people believe that everybody detained there is a dangerous criminal who would endanger society if released. According to the data published by GEO and ICE themselves, 87% of detainees have never committed any type of crime, including illegal entry into the country. So why can't those people remain at home with their families? It seems that the point of the facilities are to inflict cruelty, to separate families, and to harass and instill fear in the immigrant communities, and to profit from the musical chairs that they play, sending immigrants from facility to facility, making it harder for their families and their lawyers to locate them. Why would we want to aid a company in profiting from the U.S. taxpayers while dehumanizing both the employees and the detainees? That's not who we are. Tourism is our biggest future for money in this community. I mean, we used to be a manufacturing hub. We've talked about it before, how we used to rely on our natural resources, the coal and lumber. Our biggest natural resource right now is the river. Clearfield chose not to do the Whitewater project, but Kerwinsville still is. We're still trying to bring people into our community through tourism, and I don't see how people will want to come to a community that separates families. I mean, we're certainly not going to get immigrants to come here. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Chittister. I'm from Frenchville. Last month, John Sobel mentioned upon visiting that detainees were working in the kitchens. Geo Group is currently in litigation for this exact behavior. Detainees who have not been convicted of crimes, reminder that these are civil facilities, cannot be made to work. Allegations of Geo staff threatening solitary confinement or using work detail as the only time detainees get to leave their rooms or blocks is coercive and an abuse of this system. Class action lawsuit from 2014 alleges that the company used forced labor and human trafficking at its Aurora, Colorado facility. Similar allegations have also been made in Washington and now apparently at Moshannon Valley Processing Center. Detainees allege that they are forced to perform essential maintenance and kitchen tasks to avoid punitive measures. This adds to the body of proof that this Geo facility does not, in fact, act differently than any of the others. This facility is not special, and none of this is new information. If you commissioners are interested in maintaining oversight of this facility, you would do well to understand the policies that you are supposed to be enforcing. The way that this information was presented, that we should be comforted that detainees are working in the kitchens, indicates to me and to other constituents that you do not understand the Constitution or these policies. The reality is that the quality of the food is the least of our concerns. We are concerned with allegations of abuse, unlawful enrichment, assault, and unnecessary death, by best case neglect, and by worst case murder. This has gone beyond Moshannon. Your constituents have corrected you multiple times, apparently, on the text of the Sunshine Act. This is unacceptable and demonstrates incompetence. Your constituents have done better research on the companies you contract with than you or your staff have. You wanted to pass the buck at the last meeting with Abraxas concerns and stated that you must trust your staff unless you are given a reason not to. The fact that no one at CYS knew of or reported Abraxas issues, and the fact that you disregarded concerns of Geo Group initially, indicates to me that you need to figure out how to take your jobs more seriously, and you should encourage your staff to do the same. Finally, to those individuals who make claims about how our friends and neighbors work there, I have no doubt that your specific individual cousin, friend, or brother who works there might custody, like prisons and other residential institutions, require oversight regardless of whether or not the individuals working there are good people. In fact, oversight helps guarantee that the people working in custody jobs are doing the right thing and are doing what they are supposed to do, and that they are supported in doing so. Resistance to demands of oversight weakens your case that these are good people. Good people in these situations want oversight because they care about the well-being of those they are charged with caring for. If you hesitate on oversight, it makes me wonder, what could be discovered that you resist? Do you actually believe your loved ones have done the right thing? If so, stand for oversight and present your case.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Melissa Wyant. I'm a lifelong resident of Clearfield County, and my friends and I strongly oppose GEO operating an inhumane facility in my town. You say they bring jobs to our area, but at what cost? Our county, it's being taken advantage of, and the small benefits are outweighed by the trauma and shame, and people will have to reckon with this. As elected officials, you've sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution, rights, and civil liberties of citizens and non-citizens alike. by renewing this contract, you are in direct violation of the oath you took. There's a strong likelihood that Clearfield County, we're gonna be scrutinized and judged on a national level. And how embarrassing will it be for this wonderful community to endure the stain of atrocities occurring here and now? I implore you, commissioners, to publicly state that you disapprove of any action of GEO who would violate the Constitution in our county. Thank you.
Thank you.
I spent the last week figuring out what I would say, and I don't know.
Could you identify
Oh,
yourself?
I'm William Fessmeyer. I live 2 miles from the facility. I don't know what to tell you. I truly do not know what to tell you. I spent a lot of time recently close to the facility. We run a changing station to help get people to visit their loved ones. And so I hear the stories of these people coming to visit the people they killed. And they're scared. More than anything else, I see them afraid. I see people who made it out, who are crying to their mothers. You know, people, the one that's really stick with me, I want to be very vague, because we're afraid that if we tell you this and it gets back to GEO, they'll be put on the next flight out, right? Regardless of their citizenship, they'll be targeted, because that's what these people do. The one that really bothers me, he worked in the United States for a very long time. And he was a proud worker for a long time, and they took him. And he bothers me because I can't imagine, like, people like my grandfather, who's a first generationer, and my great-grandfather, who are from Italy, who fled Benito Mussolini. I can't imagine what it would become to go from being a proud worker to a dirty wop, you know, a dirty Guido, you know? I can't imagine what would happen to them. And he really bothers me. The fact that we continue to support the system as an institution upsets me. It makes me angry, it makes me tired. I don't have good answers. I see people like in Pittsburgh, who's their neighbors. The reason they're here is because their neighbors were just grabbed off the streets, right? People showed up and grabbed them. And they're scared for their neighbors. They're scared it could be the friendly guy next door. You know, they're afraid it could be the Chinese restaurant across the road. They're scared. It's a religion of fear. And I know that I think we're all a little scared. I'm scared. I'm scared that this won't stop. I'm scared that it's going to keep going and keep going. And eventually, I don't know where it ends. 12 million people is what they wanted to put, right? 12 million human beings who are just fighting to survive. I don't think people illegally migrate because they want to. They do it because they don't think they have another choice. It's a choice of illegally migrate, starvation, disease. They don't have better options. And so when we punish them for fighting for survival, it's evil. And I think you guys can be a critical part of stopping that evil. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
We have time for one more, it looks like.
We'll do one more, please.
No other Clearfield County residents, I'll go.
Do it.
Final call?
That's fine.
Sure. So I come here today with a broken heart. My name is Bobby Erickson. I'm from Jefferson County, as I'm sure you all know. My plan for today was to have somebody from inside Moshannon call and give his testimony and his words to you. And last night he made me aware that he was too scared to do so. He was fearful that his case would be impacted, that he would be taken away from his family, that he would lose his home. He was scared to speak on what he's experiencing, as are all the people. I brought you multiple testimonies before, and the people that gave me those are some of the bravest people that I will ever have the privilege to know. Because what they put on the line to give you those words is their entire lives, their families, their homes, and they fear being taken back to a country where they face death, they face war, they face genocide. The stories from their families are horrendous. You don't hear many of the stories from inside this facility because it's run on fear. They are threatened. They are threatened with transfer away from their legal representation, farther away from their families that already have trouble getting to visit them. The families, I'm in contact with many of them. I'm trying to be careful of what I tell you so that they don't get harmed. The stories they tell me about their journeys from other countries, their stories of my government was killing my friends, and I saw my friends hung and killed in front of me before I ran to America that was supposed to be the land of promise where I could find a life. And they ask me, when I speak to them, why am I here? I did it the right way. I hear that over and over again. I did it the right way. Why am I here? And the only thing I can ever tell them is for profit. And because the men in charge won't listen to their stories. And I've spent a lot of time in this office. And I know that I've been mad at you, all three of you, for insinuating that these people are lying or making up those stories. And now I understand that, of course it's hard for you to believe. Some of the things that I brought to you are hard to believe when you've grown up in this wonderful place and you've never seen such atrocities and you can't understand how that could happen to people because you've never seen such things and you grew up in systems that you could always trust in. These people don't have that privilege and they're seeing it every day and they can't even speak on it. Is that the America that you were taught existed? An America where you can't speak without fear of retaliation from the government? Losing your life? Losing your livelihood? Losing your families?
That concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. We will move on. We have one item under old business. I believe this was tabled at the last meeting. This is consider the appointment to the Clearfield Jefferson Airport Authority. Let's see if Lisa has those names.
Yeah, it was
John Ness. and
John Ness
Edwina Egger.
and Edwina Egger.
I will make a motion to appoint John Ness to the Clearfield Jefferson Airport Authority, also known as Du Bois Regional Airport.
Second.
Properly moving second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Now moving on to new business items listed on the agenda. Item number 1, consider vehicle parking lease agreement with the Redevelopment Authority of Clearfield County.
We had a prior lease regarding the lot that CYS uses for their vehicles. That property had been transferred to the Redevelopment Authority, so this is an updated lease. We're currently at 30 spots with a monthly rent of $600 per month. The lease provides for, should there be a change for additional spaces needed, that we can do that. It is a 1-year agreement from June 1st of 2026 through May 31st of 2027. We would be responsible for the maintenance of the lot, which is similar to what we had been doing. There was one change to the lease of a paragraph regarding the indemnification to be changed. If you would approve that, just pending the update to that one clause, the rest of the agreement is very similar to what we had had for the parking lot.
So you want a motion to approve it pending your final?
Pending final legal approval.
Final approval.
Before
Okay.
we take a vote, could I ask the
You can
solicitor?
abstain.
Okay, I should.
All right. Well, I'll make the motion.
I will second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
John is going to abstain as he is on the Redevelopment Authority Board. It is not a disagreement with the lease, as I understand it, but just to avoid. Thank you. That motion does carry. Next, consider professional services agreement with CDI Corporate Security and Investigations.
And it's CSI corporate, but they're used on an as-needed basis for CYS. They assist in background checks, family finding of information, and a variety of different services. They do transportation. If necessary, they serve processes. And we have contracted with them for the last several years. This is their updated agreement for the upcoming fiscal, well, I guess we're in the new fiscal year, so.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the services agreement with CSI, Corporate Security and Investigations?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, consider agreement with Avanco International for child accounting and profile system upgrade. Once again, we're going to turn to the solicitor for details.
We always refer to this as our CAP software. This is the software 57 counties in the Commonwealth share. Every now and then they do various updates, excuse me, and upgrades to make sure that software remains compliant, makes enhancements, security and whatnot. That fee is always split amongst the county. So this is just an upgrade again for different policies for the software, and the cost to the county will be $3,349.28.
Okay, do I have a motion to enter into the agreement with Avanco International for what we refer to as the CAP software?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Consider an addendum to purchase of service agreement with the Children's Aid Society of Clearfield County.
We had contracted back in August of last year with Children's Aid Society of Clearfield, which we do on a routine basis. However, they had some changes to 3 of their programs, their Triple P, their Parent as Teachers, and their Nurturing Parent. This addendum just sets forth the maximum that CYS can collect from them, so they're in compliance with their grant funding. And that addendum will be for the prior year, and then their new agreement is incorporated, but that's just a reference for the last year's fiscal agreement.
Motion to accept the addendum to the purchase of service agreement with the Children's Aid Society.
So moved.
I'll second.
Properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have several purchase of service agreements. Would you like me to do them individually, as they are not really together?
We can do them separate.
Okay. Several purchase of service agreements, gentlemen. First is with PA State Constable Terrence Morgan.
And again, this is for the current fiscal year, renewing an agreement. We've worked with Constable Morgan for several years. This is to assist with mostly servicing, service a process of legal documents for CYS. And that's in the standard form, all of these will be.
I'll move that we approve the purchase of service agreement with Constable Terrence Morgan.
I'll second.
Properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Can I ask, are these all renewals? There's nothing new here?
No.
Okay.
And most of them, I mean, I can go through them, almost, I think all of them, to be honest, there have been long-term, the layer has done our consulting. I can say what they're for
I
each of them, if you
can,
want to do it
I
that
can
way.
combine these, just that they were different services.
Yeah. And I can just update quickly. The layer, they do the psychosexual evaluations and they do expert testimony if needed. Catherine Serbuck, that is another doctor who does specifically psychosexual evaluations. That is used more through probation, whereas the layer is used a little more through CYS. So they are similar services. Children's Aid Society of Mercer County, we had contracted with them 2 years ago for the first time. That is for, we have a placement in their county and they provide in-home services to support that family. Justice Works, they do a variety through not only CYS, they do a little bit with probation, but they assist with the truancy program as well as various services on dependency matters. And then Swati's Custom Detailing is for vehicle detailing for car. Last year was the first year we did a PSA with them, and then this is a renewal of it in order for the cars to be cleaned as needed and keep them appropriate.
Okay, I will combine these purchase of service agreements. We'll look for one motion for Valari and Associates Counseling Service, Counseling Associates, Catherine Serbeck, Children's Aid Society of Mercer, Justice Works Youth Care, and Swati's Custom Detailing, a motion to extend those purchase of service agreements as explained.
I'll move that we extend the purchase of service agreements as explained by our solicitor.
I'll second.
Properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, consider approval of new form leases for counting polling locations, and I know we went back and forth on the wording of this actual motion. The polling places used in both the primary and general elections are leased by the county. I'll let you, counselor, solicitor, suss this one out.
we try to use the polling locations that we've always used. We've had some changes to them, and as the new director came in and we went through and reviewed what was there, we felt it was appropriate to kind of get back to a standard form lease for all of those polling locations, and then as we have changes, we have a form in place that if anybody would want to see, we can use in there. So in working with Commissioner Glass as well as the new director, we had created a new form polling lease agreement. Just to clarify some changes, it talks about updates to access to the building. As equipment changes and needs have developed over the last year, some of our old leases didn't include language like that, so it includes those updates, as well as standards to the building, electricity, making sure things are properly available to the Board of Elections. We cleaned up some of the termination notice. We were fearful we didn't want anything to happen that would jeopardize any elections of a polling location last minute. Avoiding any type of conflict of interest for any ownership interest that may come out. As far as that goes, and the premises. So a fairly standard lease, but again, just tailoring it a little bit to the specifics that we did and kind of have one agreement, so we have the same agreement with all of our polling locations. And two, some of the spaces have changed a little bit. Maybe we used one side of a building, now we use the other. And some of our agreements were just a little outdated, so this is just a way to get all of those kind of updated and have new leases in place with everybody.
I want to thank you for doing this work, and it is overdue. You know, we did have a number of different forms out there, and as you correctly pointed out, so much has changed in the last 20 years in elections. Now, we've got this equipment, it needs to be stored, it needs to be securely stored the day before, and, you know, so now that's part of the requirement in the lease. So, we want, and of course, the accessibility piece. We inspect all of our polling places to make sure that they're ADA compliant, and this, you know,
What is
verifies
our,
that that'll be true.
after our realignment last fall, what is the total number, Commissioner Glass, of polling places?
69,
No, 63.
63, yeah.
We cut
it
six.
was.
Going to arm wrestle over?
She's thinking of the old days, but we
Okay, so-
reduced
and
some.
it-
The
just-
old
just
days,
for-
104.
Yeah, just for perspective, this does encompass 63 separate locations
Well,
throughout the county.
63 separate precincts, some of them are co-located, so there's actually less
The
places than that. but
fairgrounds
yes.
does represent,
Well, in places
believe,
like Glen Hope and
5.
Bigler.
Bigler are co-located, and Grampian and
Penn.
Penn are so the bottom line is there's 63 precincts and a lesser number than that buildings.
but still a complex process.
It is a complex process, and it only works because so many people behind the scenes are working.
Okay, do I have a motion?
And if not to interrupt, just
Go
very
ahead.
quickly, so I know Commissioner Glass is aware, but again, part of it is also authorizing the director to sign, so we can
Yes.
get those in, and
That's-
as new
that's very
polling
important.
locations come in, he is aware, should there be any significant change or question, then it would come back before the board.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the new form and to authorize the Director of Elections to sign the contract on our
And
behalf.
I will second it.
Properly moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now, I do have, seems like a good segue. The director yesterday sent us a list, and I want to announce this, and Jeff, if you'd please post this. We have several positions open for the fall election. Clearfield, 3rd Ward, we need a judge of election and a majority inspector. Kerwinsville, we need a judge of election. Bob, if you know anybody, we really need some help there. Bradford Township, we need a judge of election and a majority inspector. And Burnside Township, we need a judge of election. It just won't work without these positions filled. So it's really important that we find a few people to step up. Thank you.
Now, and this has been an ongoing concern.
Yeah.
That
This
we-
is part of why we consolidated position at precincts in some cases, because we
And
couldn't find people.
while it may seem odd to be talking about elections in July, we need to get these people in place so we can get them trained and not be dealing with this.
You're gonna blink and it's gonna be October, and we're gonna be right in the ramp up, so we need to get
And
this
in the
filled.
primary, 2 days before, we were scrambling to call people. So
100%
this is an important part of our election process.
Yep.
Do we have anything else from the solicitor?
I do not have anything to say.
Gentlemen, do we have anything else in particular?
Not here, I believe we do need an executive session for
We do need an
legal and contractual
executive to
purposes.
talk about some legal and contract items that we need a little clarification on.
There won't be any action afterwards that I believe.
Okay, no vote will be taken.
Then I'll move that we go into executive session for purposes of various and sundry legal matters we need to
Okay.
discuss. And
We have a motion to go into executive session at
Have 11:10.
11:10 a.m.
Don't we need to adjourn our regular
If
meeting
you,
first?
if you can adjourn, so that way, if you're not, there won't be any
Oh, all
action.
right.
All right,
Okay.
well, I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
and I'll second it.
Motion to adjourn, properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then motion to go into executive session, we're gonna modify that to